This is Aaron Marshall from Intervals, and you're geeking out to Gear Gods. We're at the Troubadour in Hollywood, and I'm going to run you through my toys that we have on the Shape of Color tour. So if you come on over here, I'm going to start from the far right, and we'll work our way down. This is a Paul Reed Smith S2 Standard 22. This instrument is functioning as a backup on this tour, so that's why she's all dirty and neglected. Yeah, standard hardtail guitar, just something that I can, tune from standard to drop D real quick, should anything go wrong with my main guitars. Just a slab of mahogany neck, rosewood board, 59 custom hybrid, and an Alnico 2 Pro from Seymour Duncan, three-way, wired like, I guess the crude way to describe it would be Petrucci style wiring. So it's like split coil sound, basically just like humbucker, twang, humbucker kind of thing. Super simple, workhorse, really simple guitar. Let's see. This is kind of the main dude for this tour. It's a Paul Reed Smith 408. It's basically like a custom 22, except it's got sort of a different thing going on with the proprietary nature of the pickups and the switching. I don't want to take too long to talk about it, but basically what's going on is you have an abnormally large humbucker and an abnormally narrow humbucker, and they're each wired to their own coil tap. And contrary to like a typical coil tap or something like that, there's some voodoo magic or some science happening that allows you to essentially tap a humbucker without losing output. So basically what you get is when you split either of the pickups, you wind up with only one of the rows, but it adds turns of wire from a hidden pickup underneath the pickup to the single coil, so you have no drop in output, volume, or tone, which is pretty incredible. I've never experienced a coil tap that functions that way. This is why I'm using this guitar for the majority of the tour, or the songs in the set, is because it allows me to flip from humbucker sounds to twangy sounds and all the sort of in-between bits without having to reach for another guitar. So that's what this is all about. It's the same anatomy as like a custom 22 or a 24, just a mahogany body, maple top, mahogany neck, and a rosewood board. Nice tall frets on this one too, which is really nice. It feels a little bit different than your average Paul Reed Smith. Trem on this guy, super simple. The back is painted black, but I've had the neck steel wooled, sort of crudely, and my sweaty hand is sort of re-glossing it nightly. So we're gonna have to address that soon. This instrument wasn't built for me. It was something that I was trying and I fell in love with, brought it on tour, and that's why it has a painted black back and painted neck. I typically wouldn't go for that, but I'm making it work because I really like the way the instrument sounds, and that's why it's been steel wooled or wet sanded. So that's it for that guy. I've also got an Aristides 060 with me, which is a wonderful guitar. These are a composite material instrument. It's a one-piece carbon fiber, or I guess it's, well, it's injection molded with a material called Arium, which is a proprietary material that they've engineered to resonate like wood. The shell itself is like a fiberglass carbon fiber kind of thing. That's the outer. And then the inside is this Arium material, which is basically a liquid that turns into a solid as it's molded, and it has like billions of microscopic little particles so that it resonates like wood, and it sounds super loud and just vibrates exactly like a wooden guitar would. Except the bonus with this type of instrument is that it's chemically inert, so it's not as susceptible to barometric pressure and temperature change and humidity and stuff like that, which is like a really awesome feature for an instrument when you're touring. Especially like I live in Toronto on, in Southern Ontario, which is considerably further east than this, and we're on the West Coast where it can be dry and humid in like a couple hours depending on where you're driving. So yeah, really stable, awesome guitars. They resonate like crazy, they sustain forever. Antiquity Texas Hots, Seymour Duncan Antiquity Texas Hots in this guy. It's also wired up so that in the center, position, it's actually like a telly. So I'm not a big fan of just a single coil in the middle. So that works really well. And if I do want that sound for whatever reason, I can just pull the volume pot and then you get the single in the middle. So you're not missing out on that. This is not a maple fingerboard. There is no wood on the instrument. This is a material called Richlite that Aristides has been using. Immaculate fretwork on these guys, incredibly fast, super comfortable guitars. They're made in a place called Haarlem, which is in the Netherlands. And I can't say enough about this company. They make incredible instruments. If you guys are looking for a space age, 20 bajillion century guitar, then this is the one. They're pretty incredible. And nothing beats this neck carve. I have never played anything that gives you upper fret access like that. It feels incredible. Really like this a lot. So can't say enough about the Aristides. I'm gonna keep moving here. This is a Strandberg Bowden OS6 that Pliny is using for his guitar work with intervals. He's actually performing with me on this tour, which is awesome. I should actually mention that the lineup is, of course, myself. Don't think it can happen without that. And then Pliny on second guitar, Simon Grove on bass guitar, and Nathan Bula on drums. So it's a really special and unique lineup for this tour, which is awesome. So this is the instrument that Pliny's using for performing the interval set. So it's just in standard tuning. It's a fixed bridge instrument, so he can tune it down to drop D and doesn't have to fuss. That's what the clip-on tuner is for. Shout out to TC Electronic. And this is a Strandberg Bowden OS6 that I've been using for the last two songs in the set, and then for the encore as well. So I've been playing Meridian and Meridian and sort of goes between the Aristides and this, depending on how I'm feeling that night. And I'm using this in drop D for Libra, so last song in the set. And it's the OS6 model with trem. For those who aren't aware, what's going on with these guitars. It's a chambered, headless instrument, super lightweight ash body, maple top, fan fret trem, which is sort of unique to this particular instrument. 5-way, Seymour Duncan JB and a jazz. This wild Endure neck profile, which is like an asymmetrical neck profile that promotes like really nice posture and grip over the course of the entire neck. Loom inlay, which is awesome. We have a crazy lighting rig on this tour, so I get to like generate my, the UV light glowing on the side dots and on the like the fingerboard itself as well on stage, which is really nice. So I can see what the hell's going on a lit stage. That's pretty much about it for this guy. Not really too much more to say about those. Awesome guitars. They don't even feel like they're there, which is great. I'm in love with that. And then I guess from there we go over to the ultra uber nerdy epicenter of Win. We'll go top down. So we've got MacBook Pro running Logic. This is my messy live session. Essentially what's going on here is just every song is broken into markers. You're wondering why there's a bass line. This is essentially we call this robo bass. Pliny and Simon had their immigration delayed at the beginning of the tour. So contingency was a friend of mine, Sam Jacobs. He plays guitar for the After Image and Escape from Echo Bass. He filled in on second guitar in Pliny's absence, and bass was a bit of a toss-up, so we did a live reamp scenario with the actual studio DIs, and that's what that was, and it worked out great. It's muted for now though, because Simon's been killing it for the whole tour, so that it just is what it is. It's just contingency. This is click track for the drummer, track mix. This is basically everything happening in backing tracks for the entire set, except for the dub drops. Those are obviously just sub hits. You can see some songs are, not as track heavy as others, and tracks consist of like an ambient third guitar or a synth line or percussion, or just anything that we can't recreate on stage. The odd harmony depending on what Pliny's doing or whatever. So that's it. Automated lanes of MIDI. This laptop is running all of our automated patch changes to the Axe effects, so no tap dancing, which is rad. That's exactly what this is. And then we have a lane for light MIDI. So this is controlling our entire automated light show, which I will show you in a second. So we go from that Firewire to a Digio 2, tried and trusted Digio 2. We don't need anything fancy in terms of I/O, so it's just something that works and has been working. It communicates wonderfully with Logic X, and there's nothing wrong with the pair between the two of them. Everything's fine. It works on a nightly basis, touch wood, and it's great. So that handles all of our I/O to front of house. So drummer gets click and tracks. Front of house gets tracks and dub drops and everything like that. That's our front of house engineer making a ton of noise because he's the utmost professional. I love Chase. Hi, Chase. Apart from that, the O2 is doing all the MIDI switching for the Axe effects as well. So this is me on top, this is Pliny on the bottom. Both of those are summed into a QSC power amp, which has a ridiculous amount of power on tap. I'm afraid I'm going to blow up cabs on a nightly basis. This thing is scary, how loud it is. There's a lot of headroom in that thing. We're running 2 channels just to feed some cabinets on stage. Before I move on to cabinets, we've just got a little drawer down here that has all of Simon's stuff. And yep, this is literally all of Simon's stuff apart from my wireless. This is the new Line 6 wireless, which he's been using. Yeah, hefty unit. We got a dark glass in there. We've been messing around with that. Other than that, couple wireless, couple backup things. We've got picks in there, etc., etc. Pretty boring. We've got a Matrix power amp on top. This is what Simon's using to power some cabinets on stage. We'll talk about his rig in a second. The SVT is literally a backup for bass stuff. Again, that's how we were sort of making robo bass happen. I'm all over the place with this, but that's why that's there. And lastly, everything is coming from the QSC and going to a pair of these cabinets. So this is Pliny on this side of the stage, and on the far side there where Devin is tuning his drums. Everyone say hi to Devin. Hi, Devin. So Paul Reed Smith 212 cabinets. These are not an Archon cabinet. A lot of people have been asking about that or what that's all about. These are just a stock Paul Reed Smith 212. It's a shallow, lightweight pine cab. Really balanced. I love the way they look and sound because, you know, cabs have to look good. Sounding good is negligible. But they look wonderful and they sound great. Really, really balanced. A lot of EQ problems that I've had in the past with 212 cabinets in particular, sounding boxy or honky or anything like that, is sort of cleared up by the shallow and wide nature of these cabinets, which is really great. And I gotta get this right or my front of house guy's gonna kill me. This is an Ear Trumpets Lab Edwina condenser microphone, which is just this wonderful steampunk looking thing. Really killer microphone. It's a large diaphragm condenser. I'm being fed information as we go. It's like a MacGruber situation. I got like the in-ear thing. I'm like, no! Anyway, so it's a large diaphragm condenser from Ear Trumpets Lab in Portland, Oregon. We actually had a visit at their shop as well. We've got a pair of these that are working incredibly well for this tour, and it's an Audix i5 on the other side. So you've got your dynamic and your condenser. We are using a direct signal at all on this tour, which is sort of contrary to typically we'll run a direct signal and cabinets just for monitoring for stage volume. But we were so impressed with the way the Paul Reed Smith cabs are sounding on stage and how that makes us feel and affects our overall stage mix that we decided that it would probably be best to spend all of our time and energy EQing the cabinet and really treating the cabinet as the main source of tone. And as a result, Chase, our front of house engineer, has been able to put a wonderful pair of microphones on them to get the absolute best out of them. And it's really hard to find an impulse response to match these cabinets because they don't exist in the Axe effects and they're sort of a unique breed, this cabinet. So I focused all of my time and energy into EQing patches for the cabinet, and then Chase gets a really nice blend of sort of like really meaty, thick mid-range from the condenser and everything you'd expect from a dynamic. They work really well together, and he sort of rides them depending on the type of part. If it's, you know, if it's like a mid-gain type of thing, or if it's like a soaring lead or something, he's able to balance the two microphones really well. That's about it for that. Other than that, the bass rig, do you want me to handle that while we're up here? Might as well take you through the whole stage. So like I said, we have a Matrix power amp here, which is being, that's what Simon is using on this tour, and he runs an output direct as you would to the running an output to the Matrix, and the Matrix is firing a pair of Mark bass cabinets. So we have them on either side of the set. That gives us a really nice balanced stage volume. I'm really big on spreading bass out on stage. I like a beefy, really boomy stage. So that makes me really happy and comfortable, and it gives him the ability to just sound massive on stage, which is great. We're also, we've got an Audix. I'm gonna be perceptive and say nothing about microphones. We've got that running as well on one of the drivers there in the cabinet, and that just gives us a nice blend for when Simon needs to take a solo. We can get some like upper mid range and stuff like that from the bass. So that's pretty much it in terms of the entire stage setup. The only thing you're not seeing is there's a lighting controller that's being fed USB from the MacBook, and that is what runs this entire rig right here, designed by a gentleman named Lee Duck. He runs a company called Duck Lights. He's probably designed lighting rigs for your favorite bands before, and he's an awesome dude. He flew to Toronto from LA and spent a whole day programming or finishing his programming and fine-tuning this entire rig with us. I do not own these lights. This is a rental scenario, but we put this rig together specifically for this tour. So the MIDI's running from that to the controller, and everything does what it's supposed to, and it's incredible, and it's really easy. I hit the space bar and we have a whole show. Other than that, I have neglected one thing here, which I've been getting asked about. Why do you have pedals in front of the Axe-Fx? Shouldn't the Axe-Fx do everything? So basically what I've got going on here is I'm hitting this Line 6 wireless, which I've had for a long time. It works for me. I haven't updated it because it works, and if it works, you just keep letting it work. Chromatic Tuner. Super simple. I just use a pedal tuner because I can't get to the Axe-Fx on stage, so I'm able to just stomp on it, and I have to do banter and tune at the same time, so pedal tuner. We've got an MXR Il Torino overdrive. Shout out to Chris at MXR. This is one of the greatest pedals I've acquired in the last couple of years. It's a clean boost and overdrive, so I've got it in clean boost mode now, but you can also switch to a full-on overdrive. This is a lovely pedal for just like pushing the front end of the Axe-Fx on any given patch if I need to just get a little more. A lot. I've also got a BB Plus from Exotic and a carbon copy as well. And the reason for these is at the end of the set, we've been doing about 15 minutes of improv for our encore every night. Since the laptop is doing all of the switching, I don't have the ability to actually change parameters on the Axe-Fx at will. Let's say I want more delay, or let's say I want overdrive or something like that. I don't have a controller to do that. So what we've done is we've created what we call like a jam rig, which is just like an amp that has a little bit of reverb and a little bit of delay, just enough to get us through. And I'm able to kick varying shades of overdrive on and off in front of that patch to allow me to go from, you know, like a semi-clean thing maybe with the volume back to, you know, balls to the wall overdrive type sound. And if I want to get spacey and post-rock, I just have the carbon copy in front, so I can just turn that on and just smash the front end with delay and just kind of, you know, space out and play one note for 10 minutes or whatever. That's really about it. Nothing else is hiding. Stage is kind of a mess right now. We're just putting that together, but I think that about covers it. And thank you for getting nerdy with me. Appreciate that. See you guys next time.
Ride of choice. Phil Collins used it. I mean, come on, Phil Collins.
With a maple top, flame maple top.
The serial number says it's from 2001.
It looks pretty.